be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together.
Welcome everybody to the next episode of Built to Exit with me, Jason Sisneros, your humble host, where we talk about the very premise that we should all, as business owners, be settled into by now with the idea that if I own a business, I should be building it to exit. That is what we're going to do. It's been a busy couple weeks. I think a lot of you had this strategy that I started and that I titled Slingshot. And I started this like 15 years ago, and I was reminded of it this year as we're heading into the end of the year. But there's two things about this slingshot idea that may help you and you may want to adopt. As I was early on in my career, I started to realize that people have habits and they have patterns. And I started to see if I'm in competition, which we are, right? If you own a business, you are in competition, even sometimes if that competition is only you. But I used to have this, I started to look around and I started to see, okay, business owners, that whether they look at their business, this is way before I realized the intelligent idea that I should be building my businesses to exit. I was playing the same game. I was following the same, sort of ideas. And I started to realize, okay, there's little things that I can do to set myself apart. It's early on in the game for me. And I realized, and I watched people around me that would go out and they would drink on a Friday night, and then they would drink on a Saturday night, and they would try to recover on Sunday, and then they would drag their asses out of bed on a Monday morning and go to work. And so what I started to do, their Friday and Saturdays started to become an accelerator idea for me, and I started to call it Slingshot Saturday. And all that meant was not drinking and partying and going out on a Friday, and also not doing it on a Saturday, but taking time to figure out how at that point in my time, this is early on, remember, I wasn't as wise and intelligent as I am right now. I didn't know. I was like, okay, what can I do on Friday night and on Saturday to slingshot me past my competition? And at the time, it was focused on sales. Obviously, that's what we all think in the beginning. When we are immature, when we are uneducated in business, we think that it's all about the sales. But that was, so I started calling that Slingshot Saturday. Really made a massive difference in my career. It did slingshot me past those people that were doing what everybody else was doing. And then I started to realize most people put down the tools and they put down the aggression, they put down the ambition, they put that stuff down somewhere right around Halloween. And they're like, you know what? I'm heading into the holidays, I'm heading into Halloween and Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's. And so I was like, man, that's another place for me to be able to slingshot past people. And so just out of habit, I mean, even after I sold my companies, I find myself raising the temperature just a little bit at the end of the year. And it's always served me well because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I got to start the machine all over again somewhere around January 5th or January 6th. But if you utilize this slingshot, obviously now we're the week before Christmas right now, but you still have time and you still have ways that you can slingshot yourself past. But I found that those two things, Slingshot Saturday and then Slingshot at the end of the year, put me in a really, really great position every January. So wanted to start that out. Look, welcome to all of you new viewers, people that are new to the show. And right now we are live on Twitter, as we are every single Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a group of the greatest Built to Exit community people that I've ever seen in my life. They're beautiful, they are handsome, they are smart, they are sexy. And the reason why, because they show up on Saturdays. They're here to talk about and to increase and to improve their own businesses for them and their families. Okay, so for those of you that are new, the premise here is really simple. It's really simple. Custom tailoring your exit. We're going to get into some great content here in a minute, but the idea, the concept that once you land on that, there's a whole lot of dominoes that fall into place. Once you understand that this thing called your business, that you are building it to exit. Everybody exits, how matters. That is our tagline at Built to Exit. Everybody exits. What does that mean? Some of it's a little bit morbid, like we all exit the earth. Right? Which means we're all going to exit our business. And there's 3 types of exits that we focus on. Number 1 is the involuntary exit, of which I had 3 early on in my career because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Lots of energy, lots of ideas, great salesperson, but did not know operations, didn't know finance, didn't know all of those types of things, and didn't have this one premise. If I own a business, I should be building it to exit. So involuntary exit means you fail, right? You go out of business. That is very common. Matter of fact, it's more common than success. Way more common because it's 90+% of businesses do go out of business. Now, the second kind of exit is dictated. Like you fast forward a little bit in my career, I'm like, okay, I figured some things out. Yes, operations is important. Yes, and then I was like, okay, I've got a business now that I want to sell. Go out, run into a private equity firm who knows exactly what they're doing, right? It's like us that we print out some stuff off of the internet that tells us we're going to go in and we're going to go buy a car, right? One of the 14 or 15 cars that we buy in our entire career. And we're going to go in because we printed off a KBB report. We watched some videos on how to buy cars. And we're going to walk into a car dealership and we're going to get that guy who sells 30 cars a month, 30 cars a month. You have no chance. They know what they're doing. We are amateurs in that realm. I was an amateur. And so there's that second type of exit, which is the dictated exit. Somebody else is dictating the terms, the price, the multiple, the time, right? And then the third one, which is what this show is all about, welcome you have wandered into a secret underground, amazing group of people who understand the premise that they are custom tailoring their exits for themselves. I speak to the one on this show. I speak to the one. I don't speak to the ones that haven't figured that out yet, that know everything. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day when we decided to get into consulting. I was really excited because I feel like it's my give back area of my life, like to be able to transmit all of the ass kickings I took, all of the failures, all of the learning and then figuring it out and piecing it together and being able to, from a kid from nowhere that's a nobody from nowhere that was able to piece together some of this stuff and be able to free myself and my family and be able to rescue kids in sex trafficking and help women and domestic violence and feed people. Like I was really excited to get into this consulting phase of my life. And then I realized that there's 2 types of consultants, right? There's 2 types. Somebody that is extraordinarily passionate about what they do and really does want to improve the community at large. And there are consultants that are like that, right? I started to look around at my competition. I started looking around, who am I playing this game with? Like what's going on? And then you realize, and I'm laying this next to a lot of the different industries that I have been involved in. There are far easier ways to make money than being in consulting. And so, because think about it just for a second. If you're listening to me and you own a business, one of the things that you run through your head, and trust me, I've been there. Right? I hired consultants. I got to a place where, and early on in my career, where I thought I knew everything. What a pain in the ass to have to deal with me as a client, right? To deal with people who think they know everything already. They've heard it all. They've been down the path. I own a business. I've owned a business for 10 years. I've owned a couple of businesses. Like, they're far easier groups of people to be passionate about leading. And if you're just in it for the money as a consultant, you will not last as a consultant because there is far more that goes into this. You have to literally fall in love. We talk about all the stuff with Built to Exit and strategies, but you have to fall in love with somebody else's outcome and be able to deal with and bounce up against some of the most arrogant for no reason people called business owners. Again, I'm talking to myself. I was that guy. I'm probably still at a lot of levels that person. But we bump up against people that already know it all and have been screwed in a lot of different ways and have a high level of skepticism. So this is who I talk to all day long. Right? Now, regardless of my outcomes, and I've sold businesses and I have the track record, and you can go on LinkedIn and talk to real people that I've helped with all this stuff. Not the easiest career, right? Not the easiest way to make money. And so you have to have a real passion for it. And I have figured out through this journey of building out, Anton J was our very first endeavor into that realm, and then Built to Exit became the clarified brand for us. And I've realized I love you people. You're such a pain in the ass. You're so arrogant. Because you have to be. You have to be. You have to be in this business, right? In whatever business it is. I don't care if you sell donuts and you have to get up at 4 a.m. to make them, or you've got HVAC company or whatever it is, whatever your business, you're my people. And so for us to improve this environment, that's what Built to Exit is all about, all right? Built to Exit is here for you, the individual, the one that is still seeking, that has lowered that skepticism, that has lowered that. You're still looking. Now, your skepticism's there, and it needs to be, especially in this environment where everybody's an expert, right? Everybody's an expert. But you're here, and you're seeking. And there is this unbelievable world that we belong to called SMEs, small and mid-sized enterprises. 0 employees to 499. This is a group of people who does $18 trillion of the GDP in the United States and hires 60% of the people. I will never stop. Every single episode, I tell you who you are, just so I can remind you that you are massively important. It's decentralized wealth. It's all of those things. It's us as a family that are fighting a battle that really nobody else knows. 10% of the country, 33 million of us exist out of 350 million people in the country. We're a very unique animal. And so when you land on this podcast, when you land in my world, I know who you are. I know who you are because I am you. And we have really, really solid conversations, and we have truthful conversations about what it takes to survive. Now, hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. I want to jump into what this episode's all about, right? The title of this episode is AI, Exit, and the Drawing Board, right? What do you mean by that, Jason? Well, let me sip some coffee and tell you what I mean. So, AI, and a lot of you that have followed me before or heard me talk about AI, I've been suspicious, right? Because as I told you, I'm just like you guys, that anything new that comes along, I'm going to be super suspicious about it. And so as AI came out, I started to think and started to study, and I started to dive in. I started to talk to people. And then I saw what always happens, this explosion of, people that were experts at marketing yesterday. And then the day before that, they were marketing or they were experts at onboarding. And I saw those same people all of a sudden become AI experts. And so I was like, okay, here comes the snake oil salespeople that are like, oh, everybody wants to know about AI. So I'm going to buy a course, right? I'm going to put a course out about AI. And so I saw that happening. Then I dug in a little bit. I took a course myself. I started talking to experts that were literally at the front end of AI. I started to get some understanding about what the objective was. And as I was going through it, so I've probably done a similar path to you. I was like, all right, well, basically AI is going out and stealing everybody's ideas and then pushing it together in a way that people that are totally incompetent can make themselves look like they are competent, which is dangerous, right? If you got a guy that's like, oh, I have a real heart surgeon, and then I have another person who says they're a heart surgeon, and they're just having AI put out the fact that they're a heart surgeon, you got to be careful now. You got to ask yourself a little bit of question. You got to go that due diligence route. You got to say, well, do I want an AI heart surgeon? Yeah, there's days, maybe sometime in the future there's going to be a robot. I know there's robots actually doing surgeries now. So this is working its way into our everyday. But do I want a person who has AI search, ChatGPT? What's the right marketing message for people who have a weak heart? and then it prints out. You say this, you say this, you say this, and you go, boom. I put that out as marketing, and I bring in some people that desperately need heart surgery, that are now, okay, I'm selling them, blah, 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 but now it comes time to put the knife in. And that's the difference, right? That's the due diligence. Our business is as important to us as our beating heart, because it's the revenue. It's how we feed our kids. It's how we put roof over our head. It's how we plan for our future. It's all of those things. It's just as important. And I see people out there ChatGPTing their way to being fancy and competent and looking like they know what they're doing in the realm of business. Right? You can see it out there. There's people that were marketing 6 months ago. They were marketing geniuses, and now all of a sudden they're acquisition experts. Bullshit. You got to call bullshit. This is where we as business owners have to call bullshit every once in a while. So my conversation with you about AI is going to be a practical application for your own business, for the business that you currently own. And how its application can be utilized for you in the future, and should be thought about and giving you perspective, as this show always does. Okay, and so as we think about AI and how it lays over and how we utilize it in our business, the very first thing that we have to understand is that if your business is not producing, I'm gonna slow down just a little bit, because this is really important that we understand this. Okay, is that if my business is not producing the outcome that I want, that outcome, I'll simplify it for you. That outcome is either more time, more choices, or more money, and all three of those go together, by the way. In this built to exit strategy, it is to sell to the highest level, the most sophisticated buyer in the marketplace, called a PE firm, a private equity firm. They know how to buy businesses. They know how to take an underperforming business and turn it into a high-performing business. And every single time they run into a business who doesn't know what they're doing, they buy it as an undervalued asset. They do all of the stuff that I teach, that I did for myself, and that we teach in Built to Exit, to be able to optimize the value of that asset called a business. Okay, so if you sit back, the first thing is if your business is not built to exit, then you have to, and you should write this down, you have to go back to the drawing board. Because as we talk about, like, my nickname in business is called the architect. So you think of yourself as an architect in your own business, and you look at it from a perspective of, I need to go back to the drawing board. What does that mean? I have built something that is less than ideal because it's not producing the outcome that I want. And I realize the dumbest thing for me to do is to continue to do the same shit over and over again and expect my business to do something different. Especially with technological advances, especially with all of the changes in the marketplace, right? But the core is that we have to go back as a business owner, put all of the ego aside, put all of the excuses about the fact that you don't have the time, put all the excuses aside that you don't have the money, that you don't have the bandwidth, that you don't, all of the excuses that we make that we are excellent and expert at making as business owners. I'm too busy, right? Put that aside for a second and go, I got to go back to the drawing board. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to close your business. It means your business operates as normal, but you go back to the drawing board and you architect out what it is that you need to do. Beginning point, an assessment of where you are right now, all of those assets, then getting crystal clear on your end game, and then building the steps in between for you to be able to actually reach the objective that you have in your heart and your mind for your business. Okay? Those are the steps. And so we are at the end of 2024, getting ready to jump into 2025 with, as always, yes, AI is the newest next thing. But every single year, there's something else that we as small and mid-sized company owners have to address, have to face down, that we have to adjust and we have to pivot from. And so the idea for you between now and the beginning of next year is to slingshot past people by going back to the drawing board. When we talk about with the built to exit system, right, that's all we do with business owners. We say, let's go back to the drawing board. You're doing some stuff that's right. You know some stuff. It's not like you're an idiot. You're doing something that makes you money. But let's go back to the drawing board and let's put you through the built to exit system so your foundation is built correctly. And then you go, we work with them to get the end game and say, what is it where we're headed? And then you systemize and then you stack up the assets that you need to build in order for your business to produce the outcome that you want it to build, to produce. And so what is your drawing board? Where is your business currently not meeting expectations or desires or needs for you when you look at your business? And I had a very strong, I put this out on Facebook the other day, that I had an amazing, my wife and I are watching, but we just got back from a road trip. And that road trip took us, I love traveling with my wife. It's so much fun. We have such a great time. And what we've done is we've turned it into, we go out and we impact lives. We own businesses together. We help other companies. We do all of that stuff. And so I get to adventure with my wife. And we go, okay, cool. Who do we get to go help? What are we going to go do? So we started in a car and we went to Kentucky. We started there, right? We've got some projects on the cannabis space. We were locking in some properties there. And then we're like, okay, cool. Where are we going next? And we drove over to Annapolis. And Joe Callow, who is president of Built to Exit and here on the show with us on platform today, we went to his birthday party. Got to have an amazing dinner with him in Annapolis and then woke up the next morning to have an unbelievable experience at the Army-Navy game. I've never been to one, right? I had to pick a team and the jerseys were more cool for the Army, so that's the one that I bought. And then they got their ass kicked. So I don't think that was very good luck for them. But I got to watch the pageantry, the as Joe put it, the pomp and circumstance of a country and the patriotism and the military from the Army and the Navy and the flyovers of the equipment and the Blue Angels and the helicopters that could just do amazing things and the national anthem and President Trump up in the booth and just surrounded by people. They were opposing teams, but we're the same country, right? They were opposing teams. I was sitting by some Navy people and some Army people, and everybody was getting along. But the idea that we were celebrating a country 250 plus years into its inception together, I got to do that with my wife, and then we jumped in the car. We drove up to New Jersey. And got to have an amazing dinner with one of my best friends in the world, with Tony Rodriguez, who's here with us every Saturday, and get to meet with some other people, and then I'll do some more business, right? More locations, and I got to sit in on an unbelievable experience at a council meeting, right? If you haven't been to a council meeting, You watch the public taking personal responsibility for what they do and fighting up against people that they elect. And there's this battle that goes on, right? We were sitting in there for other reasons, for to get a business approval and etc. But to watch that happen, all of this stuff comes together. This was the last 5 or 6 days of my life. And I'm thinking to myself, man, what an amazing country we belong to. Right? What an amazing opportunity it is for me to live the lifestyle, to be where I want, when I want, with the people that I want to be with at all times, and to do this with my wife. Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. Right, so I was just kicking back and watching. We watched this show called Alone, and the point of where I want to wrap this show up is that if you haven't watched this show on Netflix called Alone, right? We're at the very end of our, we turned it back on for the fight and then we're going to be off of it again. But there's this show called Alone. And the idea of Alone is that they drop out 10, 12 people in the middle of nowhere. This last episode or whatever was about some people that got dropped off in Saskatchewan, okay? And in Canada. And you watch them and they basically get dropped off. Again, it's in the title, it's Alone. And they get dropped off and they have to survive. And whoever survives the longest wins the show. $500,000 and the title of winning Alone. And as you start to watch, you start to follow their stories. Everybody's capable. Right? Think of the business owner community, right? Everybody's capable of getting a business license and opening a business and finding some money to get started, making some sales to get going. Like everybody's competent. And then you watch them one by one. Not a physical game. In some instances, it's a physical game where they can't compete anymore, but mostly it's a mental game. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, man, it's the end game that matters to somebody surviving, not eating, having to build your own thing, like having absolutely no contact with anybody. It's the end game that matters. Going in with the expectation and the belief and the understanding that I'm going to win this game. And then, yes, coming up against those battles, but it's a mental game. And each and every single one of them that reaches towards the end of their performance starts to talk about, as all things have fallen away, they're starving, it's freezing, they've got bears outside, they've got mice that are stealing their food, they've got all of these challenges against them, and they're whittled down to their core, to the core components of what's driving them in their life. And it always comes back to, I just want to spend time with those I love. I want to have experiences with those I love. And it reminded me in such a slap in the face way that we as business owners are doing what we do to spend more time and to have more experiences simply with the ones that we love the most. And we lose perspective Life doesn't hand you the opportunity to go out and be competing in a show called Alone. Life hands you what it hands you. Life hands you what it is that you have in your hands right now. And we as business owners get caught up in things that do not matter, which drain our innovation. It drains our intellect. It drains our zest for this thing, this gift we've been given called life. Because it's misaligned in a simple perspective shift. Your business is meant to create freedom for you to be able to create experiences and spend quality time with the people that you love. Not to absorb all of your energy, all of your passion, all of your time, so that you die at a desk never getting to know your children. So that you die at a desk never gotten a chance to experience the world, to be able to travel, to be able to get to know your spouse better. All these things that matter. And we lose perspective. And if you have that perspective shift, that's why I do this show every single Saturday. It's just for some people because it's what I get in my DMs and what I get in text messages and what I get in phone calls is, Jason, I didn't think about it that way. I know. The world is not educating you to set yourself free. The information and the knowledge for you to free yourself, the individual listening to the sound of my voice, that's not the way the world is set up. It's to take your time. It's to take your money. It's to take your attention. And at its core, it's set up to put a straw in you and suck out the life force. And I mean this in the most positive way that I possibly can. When you understand that, you just go, boop, I'm taking the straw out. And I'm going to take control over my own destiny. I'm going to take control over my own life. And wow, God presented me with an opportunity to build a machine that creates cash that gives me freedom. And that freedom is not as expensive as everybody thinks it is. That freedom can come with a decision. A lot of business owners are actually free now, but they're not satisfied. They're free now, but they're not satisfied. Because they don't have the Lambo, because they don't have the jet, because they don't do like all of these things that the world has set up as a successful thing to say you're a successful person now. Bullshit. You are successful when you deem yourself free. Now your machine can escalate that. It can take the timeline out. It can extend that timeline. You can do more good. You can do all of those things. But if you don't realize that you're building your machine for that very specific exit, which includes spending time and experiences with the people that you love, you're off track. The dominoes will not fall as easily for you as they should. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean that you are incapable of exiting your business. It just means that you got to put the right objective out there. And so that show alone drove it home for me. Every single minute of the last 7 days of my life was spent with my favorite human being called my wife and other human beings I call my friend. A 10-year relationship with Joe Callow, a 10-year relationship with Tony Rodriguez. The people that we came across, the conversations that we had. James Jacoby, like the people that I get to see in person and to be able to give them a hug. And to be able to spend time without even a wondering, are we going to have the financial ability to be able to do it? Why? Because I built the exit. I custom tailored my exit. My exit is different than yours. The way that I live my life is different than the way you want to live your life. The thing that we have in common is that we believe that in this free enterprise called business. And as we head into 2025, there's going to be some major shifts called in the world of AI. The platform of why I'm playing this game is to make sure that that is rolled out in a way that does not disadvantage my family called the SMEs. The reason why, in numbers, there's power in numbers, which is why we have a growing community. The Built to Exit community is growing and coming together because it's not about one guy being a consultant and helping you become rich. It's about a group of people who understand that helping each other become more successful and having conversations and doing business with each other keeps us free. And the biggest producing group of people in this country called SMEs of $18 trillion and 60% of the hiring do not have a consolidated voice to be able to address and go to government or go to the powers that be to have a voice in how AI is being rolled out. We're not too late to the game. So there's two things. A, we keep getting together. That's all I ask. Come to Saturday and bring a friend. Bring another business owner. If you're a consultant and you want to be trained to know what I know, just reach out to us. If you're a business and you want the Built to Exit system for yourself, then just reach out to us. We have the tools to be able to help you, but the community is what's important. The conversations that we have on Saturdays are important. The perspective shifts are important. Because AI, and in a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to go into the technical terms and all this other kind of stuff, but AI has reached a pinnacle. Obviously, it's going to keep reaching pinnacles and whatnot. But we still have time for us to be able to implement AI to keep small and mid-sized companies relevant in business, and being able to produce by utilizing the tools that exist right now to be able to become more efficient, more effective, better at your marketing, better at your sales, better at the delivery of your product and or service. And you got to think through that. There's tools, there's a suite of tools that I believe are going to be best implemented in small and mid-sized companies that will level the playing field between us and the big companies, and also give us some defense against corrupt politicians, okay? There's a suite of tools that we're going to be rolling out next year. I don't own them. I don't make any money from you using them. That's not the point. The point is that we need a toolbox for you to be able to succeed and for you to be able to take your game to the next level. Well-researched tools, things that you can put into your business that will help you immediately. But before you do that, you've got to go back to the drawing board. And here's where I'm going to end this episode. You've got to go back to the drawing board, because AI is simply a process of thought. Remember a long time ago, and for years, I've said that business is an intellectual sport. And so when you go back to the drawing board, that means that you have to strategize, and this is, again, you have to have a base to operate from. You can figure that out yourself, or we've got it in the Built to Exit system, okay? You go back to the drawing board and you say, okay, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go. Now I need to build the connection pieces between that. The foundation, the strongest foundation is the business principles about how businesses are built. And that's a Built to Exit system. We already built it for you. It's already there. But you've got to make the decision to go back to the drawing board. Because whatever it is that, if you're listening to me, I know you're not satisfied. I know you are not in the place that you want to be. I know that, okay? And so you've got to get to a place where you understand where you are. We've got a free assessment. Just go to builttoexit.biz and plug it in, okay? Then you figure out what your end game is, and you build on a foundation to be able to go that route. AI is worthless to an unthought out strategy. It's just another Google for those people that don't understand the power of it. It's just a marketing, copywriting, copy of a copy of a copy of a copy for people who don't realize what AI is actually being utilized for and can do for you in your own business. So we'll work through that together next year. And I'm going to talk about different tools on the show. We're implementing that into the people that, as a business, are growing. Our clients at Built to Exit, both on the Built to Exit system side, on the consultants and the certified strategists that we are currently training. For all of the business owners that we talk to, if we got to do interventions for different businesses, this is very important. And 2025 is going to look very, very different to 2024. And I'm here to resource everybody. I'm here as a group of people of the community to make sure that you don't just survive what's coming in the next evolution of human thought, right? The mechanization of this country, we don't have to be as strong because we have machines. Now we go to a place where we don't have to be as smart or use our brain because the intelligence is literally being modeled. How we keep relevant, how we keep our families fed, how we don't become a subservient second class is going to be up to us in the small and mid-sized company arena. We solve a lot of problems. We always have, we always will. And I expect to be at the forefront of this as it rolls out. So join us, bring people. We need people. We need power in numbers if we're going to have a voice about how this stuff is all rolled out. And that's the group that is here. You're watching the show. You're here. You're live. We're about ready to go live and back into the audience on Twitter at the Jason Sisneros, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every single Saturday, like clockwork, except for, by the way, next Saturday, because my wife and I will be out of the country. So I love you all very much. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm Jason Sisneros. Remember, slingshot past people, stay busy, make sure that you are building your company to exit. Make sure that you understand that the reason why you're doing it is so that you can spend more time, quality time, have more choices with the people that you love the most. And that's why we're here. Thank you all for being here. I'm extremely humbled for the growth in the community, and I want to continue to keep serve. If you have questions, if you want things that you want me to address next year, please always send them to your thoughts, your ideas. That's why I'm here. So the more I hear from you, the better my content can be directed and solving your specific questions. So I'm Jason Sisneros. This has been another episode of Built to Exit. I love y'all. Peace. Thanks.